Okay, welcome back. Let's give you a little bit of technology and show you how the projections are projections now for Maharashtra and Haryana. What are we projecting at the moment for these two states? Take a look first at Maharashtra, where it appears that the India Today pre-poll survey has been the closest to the to the right numbers. We had said 125 to 141. As of now, 127 is what the BJP tally is looking like. 127 at the moment. The Shiv Sena is at number 2 with about 61. The Congress 43, the NCP 38, others are 14. But the real winner at the moment is clearly the BJP, but they may not reach that 144 mark for a simple majority. They may need the support of a few independents, and who knows, they may even go back to the Shiv Sena to give it, the alliance, a more robust structure. So that is what is happening in Maharashtra. The India Today poll has been the closest in this election to what has happened in Maharashtra, the pre-poll survey that we did. As far as Haryana goes, take a look at Haryana, and this is a state where, again, we didn't do a pre-poll survey, but most polls had suggested that the BJP would emerge as the single largest. Take a look at Haryana, and it is clear that in Haryana, the BJP is now over the halfway mark, over 45 seats, and poised to become the government in Haryana, with the Lok Dals having 20 seats, which is the next highest. So 20, which is INLD of Chautala, will be the opposition party in Haryana. The big story, and occasionally on television we like to pat ourselves on the back, particularly in this age where exit polls are seen by some as gospel. Headlines Today's prediction and analysis on Maharashtra has been the most accurate so far. Has been the most accurate on Maharashtra, because we had said that range of 125 to 141. It appears that the BJP will be in that range. They will probably not cross in Maharashtra the 150 mark, which many others had been predicting in this election. So sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. The problem in television is every time you get it wrong, you're reminded about it. So we're trying to remind you on the rare occasions that we get it right. That's what's happening at the moment. Difficult poll to predict, Ashok Lahiri. So to that extent, if Dhananjay Joshi and his team at Cicero get it right, it's quite an achievement to get a five-party election right. Not an easy thing to predict. Let's be very, fair to pollsters who've had a bad name over the years.
Now, I think it's a delight seeing that Indian psephology has come of age. When I see these young people coming out with these numbers, of course, people like me and you will always say, polls after all, let's see. I mean, it's not decided until it's decided. But they are coming fairly close. But where I think I have to eat my word, I didn't expect INLD to do this badly.
Yeah.
INLD is really...
Are you saying 21 is badly? They were winning 25% of the seats. Let's be fair to them, Ashok.
No.
Here is that chief minister is in jail.
No.
I mean, that potential chief minister is in jail.
Rajdeep, you are wrong.
Yes.
You are wrong. Ashok is absolutely right.
21 is bad news for the INLD.
Look, Haryana, what has Haryana had? Haryana has had one Lal or the other Lal.
Yeah.
Right? So what was Bansi Lal then became Huda in a way. So it was Congress or INLD. And INLD, and it was widely believed in Haryana that almost on the eve of the voting, Jats decide who's going to be the most likely to throw up a Jat leader. So it was widely believed in Haryana that in this seesaw, it will be Chautala. Chautala is in jail. He went back to jail day before the voting. Sympathy. In fact, if INLD had got more seats in Haryana, we would have looked very stupid. I would have looked very stupid, having stuck my neck out even in my writing for India Today and saying Haryana has changed and Modi discovered this new Haryana.
Okay.
So Haryana's rejection of Chautala now, while they were rejecting the Congress party, is the biggest change in the politics of Hindi heartland as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Yeah. So Suji, just a minute. MJ Akbar joins us. He's now BJP national spokesperson. So in your new avatar, MJ Akbar, how are you seeing these results? Do you believe that this is a follow-up of what has happened in the general elections in May? The BJP at the moment could be just short of the halfway mark in Maharashtra, and you're poised to form the next government in Haryana. Is this, in your view, MJ, a sign that the BJP is now the principal pole of Indian politics?
In terms of electoral mathematics, this is quite an amazing quantum leap from our existing positions. And this is an enormous vote of confidence in the Prime Minister's performance in the last 4 months. This is actually a slap in the face of skeptics.
Yes.
This proves that the BJP's assessments of its position and of its ground reality in both the states was very accurate. And I think this confirms that the BJP lives in a real world rather than in an artificial world of make-believe.
Would you give 80% if I were to put a percentage of the credit for Narendra Modi? Would you say Narendra Modi and Amit Shah? Is this the strategy of the central leadership, not so much the state leadership?
May I just point out that the voice is floating and I can't really clearly hear what you're saying. Okay. I think you said or you suggested that the credit for this should go to Narendra Modi ji and to Amit Shah ji. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. That Amit Shah and Narendra Modi get the lion's share of the credit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this is a tremendous partnership that the BJP has found. And this partnership is really making its impact. First, you could see the impact it made in Uttar Pradesh, and you can see the footprint of this partnership now expanding at a tremendous pace across territory that was once considered outside BJP's traditional areas. I mean, Haryana is a very, very specific example. It's really harvesting votes in land that had very rarely been tilled by the BJP.
You know, that's interesting, Manini. Are we seeing, therefore, the BJP now exploring new areas? Haryana, best performance, Shekhar was pointing out, was what, 13 seats? So from 13 seats, if you're reaching almost 50 seats, that's a huge jump. That's 400%.
I know, but
Maharashtra, 200%.
In fact, in Haryana,
16 seats, yes.
In fact, in Haryana, if I take you back to sort of my school days, BJP was always laughed at as a party of loudmouths. The slogan used to be, of all parties, जिसका मुंह हो खुला दिमाग हो बंद, उसका नाम है भारतीय जनसंघ. When they were Bharatiya Jansangh. So for them, it's a very big shift. But having said that, you know, I know that it's below the belt, but you know, Manini is sitting here. Manini, MJ Akbar's been your editor as well. Isn't it cute now to have MJ Akbar referring to Narendra Modi and Amit Shah as Narendra Modi ji and Amit Shah ji?
Okay, we will ask.
Politics changes our lives, isn't it?
No, I mean, just as Akbar has changed, that's why masses of Indians have changed. So I don't know why we are so surprised by today's results, because I think instead of comparing BJP's performance in these two states with 2009, we should compare it with the 3 months ago, and you will have the figures. I think the BJP did phenomenally well in both Haryana and Maharashtra in the Lok Sabha. So if you sort of disaggregate them to assembly seats, are they doing better or are they doing the same?
In terms of assembly seats, the BJP Shiv Sena had won 234 assembly constituencies in the 2014 polls. Now, if I add them, they're likely to win around 210. They're down about 24.
And in Haryana?
And in Haryana, the BJP had again won about 50 seats. So they were virtually where they were
exactly.
in the 2014.
So I'm saying that one shouldn't be so surprised, because
okay, so you're
the
not
honeymoon
surprised.
with Narendra, this is common.
Continues.
This is common. I mean, in previous elections, in Lok Sabha election, if a party does phenomenally well, that the drag effect is there to be seen for at least a year.
Okay, so Narendra Modi honeymoon effect continues. I'm joined by Dushyant Chautala, who is himself, of course, a member of parliament and was then asked to contest in the, was being asked to contest in state elections. But Dushyant Chautala, the general view here in the studio is your party has not done as well as expected. You'll get at the end about 21, 22 seats. Would you concede that you have failed to capitalize on the anger against the Hooda government, Mr. Chautala?
Rajdeep ji, if you talk about the current trends, it are urban trends. When you go to urban-rural mix or the rural trends, I think so this will change. If you pick up the 2009 trends also, first 8 rounds INLD was at 8, and at the end we got up to 32. Today we are at 25. I think so we will cross the 45 mark easily now. Because the urban area, urban people have supported us very well.
But you know, I'm getting the trends even from your regional Haryana channel. So I'm trying to be a little ahead of what the national channels usually are. Would you concede, though, you have not been able to capitalize on what seemed to be anger against the Hooda government? The BJP has captured that anger, not the INLD.
It's too early. It's too early if you talk about the anger, because we have 15 rounds. If I talk about Uchana, first 2 rounds, it was Virender Singh ji's village Dumarkha, that was coming, and I was trailing behind. And now on the third round, when Chhattar came in, I went ahead. So you cannot count. Every village has to be different. Every voter has, every village or every ward of a city has a different mindset. They vote differently.
So
and
you're
I
not
think
conceding defeat?
Now, after the fifth.
You're not conceding defeat
No,
in
we are
Haryana
not.
yet?
If you... Not yet. We will get the 42 mark, 45 mark, and we will form the government individually in Haryana.
You seem to know something, Dushyant Chautala, about the electronic voting machine that none of us know. You seem to know that there is some jadoo that the INLD is going to do in these last 3 rounds that will help you to win. But you're not conceding defeat. You're not willing to acknowledge that the BJP is the number one party of Haryana.
Rajdeep ji, I just want to remind you, I fought an election 3 months ago when that was Lok Sabha and Kuldeep Bishnoi was winning in the first 7 rounds. And then INLD, when it came to Narnand, Uchana, Uklana, it went up with a boom. So you cannot predict first round to be the final round. You have to wait for the 15th round. Trends will keep changing. It is the rural-urban mix that is coming up. Let the rural mix come up. Let the rural voters results come up. When you go to the rural votes, I think so INLD will lead accordingly.
Okay, so the Dushyant Chautala refusing to concede defeat. Appreciate your joining us. You believe that the rural voters will make the difference. I appreciate your joining us. Yes, Surjit, you've been waiting for a while.
2 points on forecasting, if you will. That prior to the counting, all of us had that Maharashtra would be a much easier win than Haryana. So that's where I think all the forecasters, pollsters, etc. have gone wrong. Haryana is the real easy win, and Maharashtra is turning out to be somewhat difficult. Second, on forecasting, there is an old rule of forecasting, and that is, if you're a forecaster, you have to remember 2 things. 1, forecast often. And second, always remind people when you're right.
Okay, always remind people, and we are doing that. But I just want to bring in one of the fascinating aspects could be in Maharashtra, because if the BJP is about 10 seats short, do they turn to the NCP, do they turn to independence, or do they turn to Shiv Sena? That's a question which is still open. I want to go to my guests in Mumbai on that. Majid Memon of the NCP is the first one joining us. Majid Memon, is there any possibility of the NCP willing to support the BJP under any circumstances if they come to you or you go to them?
Well, Rajdeep, let us not rush up. It's a matter of a couple of hours now. If we wait till about 12 or 1, we would know what precise figures, we arrive at. What is BJP's tally, how many seats short they are, and what is the reaction of their natural ally Shiv Sena. How is Shiv Sena responding to Bharatiya Janata Party's overtures? These are all questions, and then NCP joining BJP is too remote a question.
You're not ruling it out.
To be asked at this
what
juncture.
I find interesting, you're not saying that I will never tie up with the BJP.
No. We of course we have said it several times. Why do we repeat? We have said it a dozen times. I must tell you one thing, Rajdeep. See, we were 62 in the outgoing assembly, and we would come somewhere near that figure. So we have nothing to worry. Only it is a Congress from 82 probably would be cut down to half its size or something like that.
No, you're also coming down. You're also coming down, sir. Both you and the Congress are coming down, not as badly as Lok Sabha. I think I need to tell our viewers this, that you're not doing as badly as you did in the Lok Sabha election.
Exactly the point I was making in an earlier round, and you kept sneering at me for that. I'm glad that wisdom has at long last dawned on our anchor.
Okay, I've given Manishankar Iyer his moment. Yes, Manisha Priyam.
Important point here, even to our story of a tectonic shift.
Yes.
If you look at the Maharashtra numbers, if we look at the party positions, certainly there is a tectonic shift with the BJP doing very well and the 3rd and the 4th spots going where they are. But the real issue is that Maharashtra is still very much voting sub-regionally. It's not going towards a clear mark since 1985, the trends that Ashok Lahiri spoke about.
Yes.
So Maharashtra somewhat needs to be still seen as an aggregation of the sub-regions rather than a Maharashtra coming out with the valiant campaign of Narendra Modi. So not a homogenizing factor, may have been an opportunity marketing, but not a homogenizing factor, not a united verdict for Maharashtra coming out. I think the sub-regions are very, very important. How that marketing has been done, how the different regions have played out.
And the real story for me, the best region for the BJP at the moment, as I keep emphasizing, Vidarbha and Mumbai Thane. Mumbai Thane is where possibly the division in votes of the non-BJP parties have gone hugely to the advantage of the BJP. Let's listen in first to the man who could well be the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Devendra Fadnavis has been speaking to us. Listen in.
The initial trends have started coming in. I have with me BJP State President Devendra Fadnavis.
See, we are very happy. People have shown faith in BJP. The way Modi ji has campaigned, people have shown faith in Modi ji and BJP. We are very happy.
So the initial trends do not take you to the magic figure. So how you go about it now?
Wait for some time and we'll reach the magic figure.
In case of the BJP falling short of majority, are the options open?
See, we are not thinking on any options as yet. We gradually let all the trends come, let all the results come, then we'll speak on that. So far as, options are concerned, I have already clarified that we'll form government on our own. So far as other parties are concerned, Congress and NCP are our political opponents. Shiv Sena is not our political opponent, but the way they have expressed themselves or the way they have, expressed their feelings about the Prime Minister, the language which was used has deeply hurt us.
But is the option to reach towards Sena open?
I don't think that we are thinking on options as of now.
हमारे साथ इस वक्त है भाजपा के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष देवेंद्र फडणवीस सर.
Fadnavis there saying that he's keeping all options open, but I want to pursue those options. Sudhindra Kulkarni, what do you see as the most likely option at the moment in Maharashtra? What do you believe is the most? Is it going to be BJP, NCP, BJP, Shiv Sena, or BJP independents?
See, I see the numbers on your screen here.
Yes.
The BJP is not crossing the halfway mark, which means that it cannot form a government on its own with its existing allies. It needs additional support. These additional support can only come from either the independents, which is a very unmanageable thing because you have to give a lot in order to get that support. As Devendra Fadnavis mentioned, the Shiv Sena, the BJP does not consider as a political opponent. There is certain bitterness, but when it comes to forming government, that bitterness goes away. Even the Shiv Sena in its editorial has mentioned that whatever has happened is past. So they are ready to support the BJP, and the BJP also is indicating that it's going to take, it's open to taking the support of the Shiv Sena. So therefore the likeliest outcome is once again a BJP Shiv Sena government.
Okay,
unless the BJP gets through the halfway mark on its own.
MJ Akbar, what
and
do you
even
believe?
then there is a likelihood of the Shiv Sena coming as a partner.
MJ Akbar, what do you believe? Do you believe that it most likely will the BJP go back to the Shiv Sena? Do you believe that is the way to forward, that you win an election on your own possibly and then reach out to old allies?
Well, I think Rajdeep, these are decisions that will be taken by the party leadership, and certainly they are far above my pay grade. But I think there is a natural alliance. I mean, irrespective, I personally feel that the numbers that you will see in the end, you will see there's a lot of Anya or others in the margin. The numbers that you will see in the end will take the BJP over the 140 mark, 145 mark, and I don't think there will be any pressure or problem for the BJP in forming a government. And after the government is formed, and I think every government welcomes support from all sides of the house.
Okay. On the other hand, Rita Bahuguna Joshi, it appears that that's the end of the game for you and the NCP. Do you believe that there will be a reunion? Do you think that the time has come for Sonia Gandhi and Sharad Pawar to bury whatever pre-poll differences were there and now sit together? Is your idea of the future a grand coalition in the opposition also?
Look, the Congress has always fought on the ideological level, and we have been there for 15 years. People wanted a change, but there are three important observations which come to light according to the accounting as it proceeds. One is that in 2014 elections, BJP was leading in 50 assembly segments in Haryana and in 132 segments in Maharashtra. And these results are nearly showing the same figures, which means that the people are willing to give the BJP a chance, Mr. Modi a chance. So there's nothing euphoric, 40 rallies and all that. The other interesting fact that is emerging is that BJP may not touch the majority mark. So in that case, BJP, which has traded serious charges of corruption, Prime Minister calling the NCP a Bhashtachari party, and the Shiv Sena calling names, calling Afzal Khan, coining the name of Afzal Khan to the BJP, will they not come together? It's a very interesting, it will be very interesting to watch out what kind of combinations begin. But we are going into the opposition, we are accepting the verdict of the people, and this is not the first time. You see, this has happened so many times. 1977 it happened, 1989 it happened, 1999 it happened.
But can I point out a major difference between 77, since number of congressmen keep harking back to 77. Madam, and I'll point it to Mani Shankar as well, in Iyer as well. In 77, at least you control the south of the country. Today, even the south is... If you lose Maharashtra and you've lost Andhra Pradesh 5 months ago, you've lost your two biggest states. Let's be clear, you've lost North India more than a decade ago. Now you're losing your two biggest states in 1 year. Surely this is even a bigger crisis than 1977.
Rajdeep.
Yes.
Rajdeep Sardesai, let us understand that the general elections have just been concluded and only 6 months have gone by for the central government. And the kind of hype, development promises that Mr. Modi has made probably has held the BJP in good state in these elections. But they will be evaluated now. And you have seen how the balance different states.
Okay, I'm getting a problem with your audio, ma'am. I'm getting some problem with your audio, but Mani Shankar Iyer, do you accept this is a bigger crisis than 77 for the Congress?
On a point of fact,
yes,
two southern states are with us, Kerala and Karnataka, and I think in all fairness, you should have mentioned that those are with us even if we lost Andhra Pradesh and Telangana.
Yes.
That said, I don't think it is these numbers of states that are with us that will determine our future. I see, for example, in Maharashtra, that if there is some kind of a post-poll understanding between the NCP and the Congress, which will both be sitting in the opposition, that we'll have together, as per your current trends, over 80 seats. That makes it a very strong opposition.
Yes,
therefore,
I think that's a point I concede.
What I want you to underline, although you're trying to run away from that, is that in a democracy, an opposition has a role. It is not wiped out. It is not sent to a funeral. We are there, we will fight back, and we may have lost this time, but the others have lost in the past, they've come back. So we are not going to be in sackcloth and ashes before you.
Okay, you're not going to
We are in a democracy, we will fulfill our role in the opposition.
Shekhar, before I come to you, I just want MJ Akbar to respond to something and then I'll get you on.
I'll just make a very minor point that once clear leadings have been established by one party, usually you find that the final result ends up being more weighted in the same direction.
That's right. I won't be surprised if the BJP ends closer to 140 at times.
So let's not jump to conclusions yet.